The most haunting of Rock Creek Cemetery as the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across the landscape, Rock Creek Cemetery emerges as a realm steeped in mystery and dread. Nestled within the heart of Washington, D.C., this historic burial ground has garnered a reputation as one of the most haunted places in the region, drawing both the curious and the brave into its embrace. With its winding paths flanked by ancient trees and weathered tombstones, the cemetery exudes an aura of otherworldly presence, beckoning visitors to delve into its dark past. Established in 1796, Rock Creek Cemetery is not just a resting place for the departed. It is a tapestry woven with tales of tragedy and the supernatural. The echoes of history resonate through its grounds, where the Civil War left its indelible mark, and countless lives were lost in battle. It is said that the spirits of the fallen still roam these hallowed grounds, their anguished cries lingering in the air, especially on quiet nights when the veil between worlds feels perilously thin. Visitors often recount eerie encounters, shadows flickering at the corner of their vision, whispers carried on the wind, and the unsettling sensation of being watched. Some claim to have seen apparitions wandering among the graves, while others speak of ghostly carriages rolling silently through the cemetery's pathways, their horses galloping soundlessly into the night. The legend of a vanishing girl, who appears only to vanish moments later, has become a chilling staple among local lore, adding to the cemetery's allure and trepidation. As the night deepens, the cemetery transforms into a playground for the paranormal, a place where the living dare to tread in search of answers to the age-old question, what lies beyond the veil of death? The whispers of the past seem to grow louder, inviting us to listen closely to the stories that have been etched into the very stones of Rock Creek Cemetery. With each visit, the air thickens with anticipation, as if the cemetery itself is alive, eager to share its secrets with those willing to brave its haunting embrace. Stay tuned, for we are about to uncover the chilling tales that have made Rock Creek Cemetery a cornerstone of the supernatural. A legacy etched in stone. The history of Rock Creek Cemetery. Rock Creek Cemetery's origins trace back to the late 18th century, a time when Washington, D.C. was still in its infancy. Established in 1796, just 2 years after the city's founding, it was one of the earliest burial grounds in the capital. The cemetery was initially conceived as a peaceful resting place for the city's elite, offering a scenic burial ground away from the bustling streets of Georgetown and the nascent Federal District. Its location, nestled in the natural beauty of Rock Creek Park, was chosen for its tranquility and picturesque setting, making it an ideal final resting place for those who sought solace in the embrace of nature even in death. The cemetery was founded by William Prout, a prominent figure in early Washington society, who envisioned a dignified and well-maintained burial ground for the city's growing population. Unlike the overcrowded churchyards of Europe, or the hastily dug mass graves of early American settlements, Rock Creek Cemetery was meticulously designed with winding paths, ornate mausoleums, and carefully arranged plots that reflected the social status of those interred within. Its layout was inspired by the rural cemetery movement, a 19th-century trend that emphasized the integration of cemeteries into natural landscapes, transforming them into places of reflection and remembrance rather than mere burial grounds. Throughout its history, Rock Creek Cemetery has borne witness to some of the most tumultuous periods in American history. The Civil War brought a surge of interments, as soldiers who had fallen in battle found their final rest within its borders. The cemetery became a solemn reminder of the war's devastation, with rows of simple headstones marking the graves of Union soldiers who had fought and died for their cause. The echoes of that conflict seem to linger still, as visitors often claim to hear distant drumbeats or the faint cries of the fallen on quiet nights, adding to the cemetery's haunted reputation. Beyond the Civil War, Rock Creek Cemetery has been the resting place of numerous notable figures who shaped the course of American history. Among them is General Albert Pike, a prominent Confederate officer and Freemason whose elaborate monument stands as a testament to his influence and enigmatic legacy. Another distinguished resident is John P. St. John, the 10th governor of Kansas, whose grave is often visited by history enthusiasts and paranormal investigators alike. The cemetery also holds the remains of influential politicians, artists, and military leaders, each contributing to the rich tapestry of stories that define its haunted allure. As the years passed, Rock Creek Cemetery evolved from a place of mourning into a site of intrigue and legend. Its Gothic architecture, towering obelisks, and ivy-covered tombs create an atmosphere that seems almost untouched by time. The cemetery's history is not merely written in stone but whispered through the rustling leaves and the shifting shadows that dance across its grounds at dusk. It is this deep-rooted history, steeped in tragedy and mystery, that has solidified Rock Creek Cemetery's reputation as one of the most haunted locations in the nation. Whispers from the Grave, the haunting events of Rock Creek Cemetery within the hallowed grounds of Rock Creek Cemetery, tales of the supernatural abound, each more chilling than the last. Visitors and locals alike have reported eerie encounters that defy explanation, leaving behind a tapestry of haunting events that have become the stuff of legend. One of the most well-known accounts is that of the Vanishing Girl, a spectral figure said to appear under the full moon's glow, only to disappear into thin air when approached. Witnesses claim to have seen her wandering the cemetery's paths, her pale form illuminated by the moonlight, trailing a white gown that seems to flutter in the wind despite the stillness of the night. Some have even attempted to follow her, only to find themselves lost among the gravestones, with no trace of her ever having been there. Another chilling tale involves the Phantom Carriage, a ghostly apparition said to traverse the cemetery's winding roads every year on the anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. Locals speak of hearing the clatter of hooves and the creaking of wheels echoing through the stillness of the night, only to look up and see a shadowy carriage pulled by horses that seem to glide silently over the ground. The driver, often described as a figure cloaked in darkness, appears to be searching for something, or someone, among the graves. Those who have witnessed this eerie spectacle report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, as if the carriage is a harbinger of doom, carrying the souls of the fallen to their eternal rest. The cemetery is also home to the infamous shadow people, shadowy figures that have been reported by countless visitors. These entities are often described as tall, cloaked beings with no discernible features, lurking just beyond the edge of one's vision. Many have claimed to feel their presence before actually seeing them, a sensation that sends chills down the spine. Some have even taken photographs only to discover dark silhouettes standing among the graves, their forms unmistakable yet inexplicable. This phenomenon has sparked numerous investigations, with paranormal researchers attempting to capture evidence of these spectral figures, though concrete proof remains elusive. One particularly harrowing account comes from a local historian, Margaret Langley, who once conducted a tour through the cemetery on a chilly autumn evening. As she led her group through the grounds, she recounted the story of a tragic love affair that ended in heartbreak and despair. As she spoke, the air grew noticeably colder, and a sudden gust of wind extinguished the lanterns they carried. In the darkness, one member of the group claimed to hear a woman's faint sobs, echoing through the trees. When they finally managed to relight their lanterns, they found themselves standing before a gravestone that bore the name of the woman from the story, a name that Margaret had not mentioned during her tour. The group quickly dispersed, shaken by the experience, and Margaret has since avoided returning to that particular spot, convinced that the spirit of the grieving lover still lingers there. In addition to these ghostly encounters, Rock Creek Cemetery is also rumored to be the site of a mysterious figure known as the Weeping Woman. This apparition is said to wander the cemetery, her mournful cries piercing the silence of the night. Witnesses describe her as a woman in a tattered dress, her face obscured by shadows, who appears to be searching for something lost. Some believe she is the spirit of a mother who lost her child, while others speculate that she is a victim of a tragic event that occurred on the grounds. Her presence is often accompanied by a palpable sense of sorrow, leaving those who encounter her with an overwhelming feeling of melancholy. The cemetery's haunted reputation has also attracted the attention of paranormal investigators, who have conducted numerous experiments to uncover the truth behind the reported phenomena. During one such investigation, a team set up equipment to capture electromagnetic readings and audio recordings. As night fell, they recorded a series of strange sounds, whispers that seemed to come from nowhere, distant laughter. Moreover, the cemetery is said to be haunted by the spirits of those who perished during the Civil War, their souls forever bound to the grounds where they once fought. Local lore tells of a soldier who appears in full uniform, his face obscured by shadows, walking the paths of Rock Creek Cemetery as if still on patrol. Witnesses claim to have seen him standing vigil over the graves of his fallen comrades, a silent guardian of the dead. Some have even reported hearing the sound of a bugle call echoing through the cemetery, a haunting reminder of the battles fought and the lives lost. The Paranormal Investigation, unraveling the mysteries of Rock Creek Cemetery, determined to uncover the truth behind the chilling tales that haunt Rock Creek Cemetery. A team of paranormal investigators set out to conduct a comprehensive investigation. Armed with an array of advanced equipment, including EMF meters, infrared cameras, and audio recorders, the team aimed to document any anomalous activity that might provide evidence of the supernatural. Their goal was not only to gather data but also to engage with the spirits that reportedly linger within the cemetery's boundaries, hoping to capture communication that could offer insight into their existence. The investigation began just as dusk settled over the cemetery, casting long shadows that danced among the gravestones. The air was thick with anticipation as the team, consisting of seasoned investigators and enthusiastic newcomers, gathered at the entrance, their hearts pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. As they stepped into the cemetery, the atmosphere shifted. The vibrant chatter of the outside world faded away, replaced by an eerie silence that enveloped them like a heavy blanket. The first stop on their journey was the area known as the Shadow Path, a narrow trail lined with ancient trees and overgrown vegetation. Here, witnesses had reported frequent sightings of the Shadow People, those enigmatic figures that seemed to materialize from the darkness. The team set up their equipment, positioning the EMF meter to detect fluctuations in energy levels while the infrared cameras scanned for any unusual activity. As they waited, a palpable tension filled the air, each investigator keenly aware of the stories that had drawn them to this location. The team exchanged glances, their excitement mingling with apprehension. They began to speak into their audio recorders, asking questions in an attempt to communicate with any spirits that might be present. "Is anyone here with us tonight?" one investigator called out, her voice trembling slightly. For a moment there was silence, then a faint whisper, barely audible, seemed to drift through the air. The team leaned closer, straining to hear the words. "You shouldn't have come here." The whisper echoed, sending shivers down their spines. The investigation continued deeper into the cemetery, leading them to the mausoleum of General Albert Pike, a site known for its haunting energies. As they approached the grand structure, the temperature dropped noticeably, and a chill ran through the group. They set up their equipment once more, capturing footage of the mausoleum's imposing facade, which appeared to loom larger in the dim light. The investigators recorded audio, hoping to catch any potential EVPs that might arise. As they stood in the hushed atmosphere, one investigator initiated a seance, calling upon the spirits of the departed to reveal themselves. "We come in peace," he intoned, his voice steady despite the unease that hung in the air. "Can you show us that you are here?" The group fell silent, waiting with bated breath. Moments ticked by, and just as they began to doubt the effectiveness of their efforts, the audio recorder captured a distinct sound, a low, mournful wail that seemed to emanate from the very stones of the mausoleum. It was a sound that resonated with sorrow, echoing the pain of the past, and leaving the team shaken to their core. The investigation took an unexpected turn when one team member, armed with a thermal camera, captured an image of a figure standing near the entrance of the mausoleum. The figure appeared to be cloaked in darkness, its features obscured, yet unmistakably humanoid. As they reviewed the footage, the team was stunned to see the figure standing still, seemingly observing them. "Did you see that?" one investigator exclaimed, pointing to the screen. "It's watching us." The realization sent a wave of adrenaline through the group, as they debated whether to approach the figure or retreat to safety. As they deliberated, the atmosphere around them shifted once again. A sudden gust of wind swept through the cemetery, rustling the leaves and creating an unsettling sound that echoed through the trees. The investigators felt an overwhelming sense of being watched, as if unseen eyes were peering from the shadows. They decided to move closer, cautiously approaching the figure in hopes of capturing more evidence. However, as they drew nearer, the figure vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the sound of their own rapid heartbeats. Undeterred, the team pressed on, venturing into the heart of the cemetery, where the tales of the weeping woman had drawn many before them. They set up their equipment near a cluster of graves, determined to document any manifestations of her presence. As they waited, the air grew colder, and the team members felt a weight settle over them, a palpable sadness that seemed to seep from the very ground beneath their feet. Suddenly, the audio recorder picked up a soft, melodic hum that gradually intensified. It was a haunting sound, reminiscent of a lullaby, yet tinged with an underlying sorrow. The investigators listened intently, captivated by the ethereal quality of the sound. "Could this be her?" one of them whispered, eyes wide with disbelief. As they focused on the recording, they noticed the faintest hint of a voice, barely discernible above the hum. "Help me find my child," it pleaded, a heart-wrenching cry that resonated deeply within the group. The emotional weight of the moment was palpable. Personal encounters at Rock Creek Cemetery. For those who have dared to walk the winding paths of Rock Creek Cemetery after dark, the experience is often more than just a visit, it becomes a harrowing brush with the unknown. The cemetery's reputation as one of the most haunted sites in Washington, D.C., has drawn countless visitors seeking a glimpse of the supernatural. Some come with cameras and recorders, hoping to capture evidence of the paranormal, while others arrive with nothing but curiosity and a deep-seated desire to connect with the spirits that are said to linger among the gravestones. What they often leave with, however, is an experience so unnerving that it stays with them long after they depart the cemetery's gates. One such account comes from a local college student, Emily Carter, who had always been skeptical of ghost stories. Raised in a family of scientists, she prided herself on having a rational mind, dismissing tales of the supernatural as mere exaggerations or tricks of the imagination. But on a crisp October night, her beliefs were put to the test. She and 3 of her friends had heard the legends surrounding Rock Creek Cemetery and decided to spend the night exploring its haunted grounds. Armed with flashlights and a digital recorder, they entered the cemetery just after sunset, laughing and joking as they made their way past the rows of tombstones. At first, the evening was nothing out of the ordinary. They wandered through the cemetery, reading inscriptions on the gravestones and making small talk. But as they reached a secluded section near the oldest part of the grounds, the atmosphere shifted. The air grew noticeably colder, and an eerie stillness settled over them. Emily recalled feeling a sudden sense of dread, as if they were no longer alone. "It was like the air itself had changed," she later recounted. "Everything felt heavier, like we had stepped into a place where we didn't belong." Just as they were about to turn back, one of her friends pointed toward the path ahead. "Did you see that?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. They all turned to look and saw a faint, flickering light moving between the trees. It was neither a flashlight nor a street lamp. It pulsed softly, as if carried by an unseen hand. The group stood frozen, watching as the light drifted further into the cemetery before vanishing into the darkness. "I don't know what that was," Emily admitted, "but I do know that I didn't imagine it." He had just begun his investigation near the mausoleum of General Albert Pike when he noticed an anomaly on his thermal camera. At first, he assumed it was a glitch, a shadowy figure appearing and disappearing in the frame. But as he focused the lens, the figure became clearer. It was humanoid in shape, but its edges flickered as if it were only partially present. Registering an intense energy reading, and a wave of cold air swept over him, sending a shiver down his spine. Before he could react, a voice, low and raspy, whispered directly into his ear. "Leave now." The words were not recorded by his audio equipment, nor did they come from any direction he could pinpoint. It was as if the voice had been spoken inside his own mind. His heart pounded in his chest as he turned sharply, scanning the cemetery for any sign of another person. There was no one. The only sound was the distant rustling of leaves in the wind. He packed up his equipment in a hurry and left the cemetery without looking back. "I've been to dozens of haunted places," he later said, "but nothing has ever scared me like that." Then there was the night when a group of friends, drawn by the cemetery's reputation, decided to spend Halloween night among its graves. They arrived just before midnight, the sky heavy with clouds and the air thick with the scent of damp earth. They had heard the stories: the vanishing girl, the phantom carriage, the weeping woman, but none of them expected to experience anything firsthand. As they wandered through the cemetery, they came across a clearing where the gravestones seemed older, more worn than the rest. One of them, a woman named Jessica, noticed a figure standing near a large oak tree. At first, she thought it was one of her friends playing a joke, but as she called out, the figure didn't respond. Instead, it turned toward her, revealing a face that was pale and expressionless, its eyes hollow voids. Jessica froze, her breath catching in her throat. Then, in an instant, the figure was gone. Her friends, who had been standing just a few feet away, hadn't seen anything. "You're just tired," one of them reassured her, though even they sounded uncertain. But Jessica knew what she had seen. The encounter left her shaken, and she refused to return to the cemetery, no matter how many times her friends tried to convince her it had been nothing more than a trick of the light. The most chilling account, however, comes from a journalist who had been assigned to investigate the cemetery's haunted reputation for a documentary. He had entered the grounds with a crew of 4, all equipped with high-end cameras and audio equipment. Their goal was to debunk the myths surrounding Rock Creek Cemetery, to expose the superstitions that had built up over the years. But as the night wore on, their skepticism began to waver. They had set up near the weeping woman's supposed haunt when one of the camera operators suddenly let out a startled gasp. On the monitor, a shadowy figure had appeared behind them, standing just a few feet away. When they turned around, there was no one there. The footage, however, clearly showed the figure, its form shifting and flickering like a mirage. The crew grew increasingly uneasy, but the journalist insisted they continue. Then, without warning, the wind picked up, swirling around them with unnatural force. The temperature plummeted, and the sound of distant sobbing filled the air. The journalist, who had been so confident in his mission to disprove the supernatural, felt a cold hand grasp his shoulder. He turned, but no one was there. That was the moment he decided they needed to leave. "I've covered war zones," he later admitted, "but nothing scared me more than that night at Rock Creek Cemetery." These personal encounters, each more unsettling than the last, serve as a testament to the eerie energy that permeates Rock Creek Cemetery. Whether they were fleeting glimpses of spectral figures, chilling whispers in the dark, or the unmistakable sensation of being watched, those who have walked these grounds at night carry with them the lingering feeling that something unseen still lingers among the graves. And for some, the experience is so profound that they never dare return. Theories behind the hauntings. Why is Rock Creek Cemetery so infamous? The haunting reputation of Rock Creek Cemetery has sparked numerous theories, each attempting to unravel the mystery of why this particular location has become a hotspot for paranormal activity. While some attribute the eerie occurrences to the cemetery's rich history and the traumatic events that transpired within its grounds, others delve into the realms of spirituality and metaphysics, suggesting that the cemetery may serve as a nexus for supernatural energies. The residual energy theory. One of the most prevalent theories among paranormal researchers is the concept of residual energy. This theory posits that intense emotional events, such as the deaths of soldiers during the Civil War, can leave an imprint on the environment, creating a type of psychic echo that lingers through time. Rock Creek Cemetery, with its history steeped in tragedy and loss, is believed to be a prime candidate for such residual energy. The emotional turmoil experienced by the soldiers and their families during the war could have created a powerful psychic imprint, causing the spirits of the fallen to manifest in various forms. Visitors often report feeling a palpable sense of sorrow or unrest while wandering the cemetery, especially near the graves of those who perished in battle. This emotional residue might explain the numerous accounts of shadowy figures, whispers, and the sensation of being watched. The theory suggests that the cemetery is not haunted by individual spirits, but rather by the collective energy of those who once lived and died there, replaying their final moments in an endless loop. The spirit of the land. Another theory explores the idea that Rock Creek Cemetery is not merely a resting place for the dead but a sacred space that holds the spirits of the land itself. Many indigenous cultures believe that certain locations possess a unique spiritual energy, often tied to the history and natural environment of the area. Rock Creek Park, where the cemetery is located, has a long history that predates its establishment as a burial ground. Before the arrival of European settlers, this land was home to Native American tribes who revered the area for its natural beauty and spiritual significance. It is possible that the cemetery sits atop ancient burial grounds or sacred sites, where the spirits of the indigenous people still linger. This theory suggests that the hauntings experienced at Rock Creek Cemetery may stem from these ancestral spirits, who are either protecting their sacred land or seeking recognition for the lives that were once lived there. The presence of these spirits could explain the unsettling feelings and paranormal activity reported by visitors, as they may be witnessing the remnants of a culture that has been largely forgotten. The role of tragedy and trauma. The trauma associated with the Civil War and the subsequent loss of life has also fueled speculation about the cemetery's haunting reputation. The soldiers who died in battle often did so in horrific circumstances, leaving behind families and communities devastated by their absence. The emotional weight of these losses may have created a powerful psychic imprint that continues to manifest in the cemetery today. Furthermore, the cemetery itself has witnessed its share of tragedy beyond the battlefield. There are accounts of suicides, mysterious deaths, and unexplained disappearances that have contributed to the overall atmosphere of dread that envelopes the grounds. Each of these events adds another layer to the haunting, creating a complex tapestry of sorrow and despair that resonates through time. The combination of these traumatic experiences could be the key to understanding why Rock Creek Cemetery is considered one of the most haunted places in the region. The influence of belief and expectation. Belief plays a significant role in the perception of paranormal activity, and the legends surrounding Rock Creek Cemetery have likely contributed to its reputation. The more people hear about the cemetery's haunted history, the more they may expect to encounter something supernatural when they visit. This phenomenon, known as the expectation effect, can lead individuals to interpret ordinary occurrences as paranormal experiences, reinforcing the idea that the cemetery is indeed haunted. Moreover, the stories passed down through generations have created a cultural narrative that shapes how people engage with the cemetery. When visitors enter the grounds, they are not merely walking through a historical site, they are stepping into a realm of myth and legend. This expectation can heighten their senses and make them more susceptible to experiencing the eerie atmosphere that surrounds them. The more they believe in the possibility of encountering a ghost, the more likely they are to perceive signs of the supernatural, whether real or imagined. The psychic vortex theory. Some researchers propose that Rock Creek Cemetery may be located in a psychic vortex, a place where the energies of the earth converge and amplify paranormal phenomena. This theory suggests that certain geographical areas possess unique energetic properties that attract spirits and enhance psychic experiences. The idea of a psychic vortex has gained traction among paranormal investigators who believe that such locations can serve as gateways between the physical and spiritual realms. Rock Creek Cemetery's location near Rock Creek Park, with its natural beauty and tranquil surroundings, may contribute to this theory. The park is known for its lush greenery, winding streams, and serene atmosphere, which could create an ideal environment for spiritual energy to accumulate. The convergence of natural elements, earth, water, and air, might create a powerful energetic field that attracts the spirits of the deceased, allowing them to manifest in ways that are visible and tangible to the living. Perhaps the most profound theory surrounding Rock Creek Cemetery is the idea that it serves as a bridge between the living and the dead. Many cultures believe that certain locations are more accessible to the spirit world, acting as liminal spaces where the veil between life and death is thin. In this context, Rock Creek Cemetery could be viewed as a sacred site where the souls of the departed gather, seeking closure or connection with the living. This theory suggests that the hauntings experienced at Rock Creek Cemetery may be attempts by spirits to communicate with the living, to share their stories, or to seek help in resolving unfinished business. A tapestry of theories. In summary, the haunting reputation of Rock Creek Cemetery is a tapestry woven from various theories, each offering a unique perspective on why this location has become a focal point for paranormal activity. From the residual energy of traumatic events to the spiritual significance of the land itself, the cemetery's history is rich with possibilities that invite exploration and speculation. Whether it is the collective memory of the past, the influence of belief and expectation, or the potential existence of a psychic vortex, Rock Creek Cemetery continues to captivate the imagination of those who dare to walk its paths, leaving them with a lingering sense of wonder and unease.